finally out of the warehouse in the Apex and finally to a pay-per-view over to New Jersey near our hometowns over on the Northeast. We got a rematch for the main event between Sean O'Malley and Dvalishvili. Not all fans wanted to see it, but we have it here. And without further ado, we'll get into it. It's gonna be me and Hot Hand today. Unk and Mo couldn't make it. Unk might make an appearance late, but no promises on that. But we'll get to the card now. We start off this card with a fighter that was supposed to be fighting in the last card. Mederos ended up coming down with like a stomach bug. He was supposed to be fighting Balaji Oki. Oki fought as well, got the decision W. But they put him in here against debut guy Mark Choinski. Mark fought in LFA and he had some success over in Anthony Pettis' organization. But he fought some pretty low level competition. Watched some of his fights, not the best guys. But he's undefeated coming in here at 8 now. And Mederos on the lines, currently around a minus 200 favorite. Minus 193, minus 200, around those ranges. And I think that the striking of Mederos, he has decent takedown defense. He's good at range. He's not a great grappler. But he does have some tough. He's a strong guy. Tough takedown defense. He got taken out by Austin Hubbard, but not really controlled. Hubbard's a strong guy, and in some of his other fights, you could see he's pretty good at sprawling and defending takedowns and getting his strikes in. He has some power, but he's mostly a precision guy. Steps in, makes you miss, and catches you. Especially on entry, he has quick strikes and extremely strong leg kicks. On the other side, Choinski, or the Mark the Shark, I'm pretty sure they call him, or something like that. But he's I think it's a 2 or 3 time Division III All-American wrestler. I don't know how much weight that holds. Hot Hand would probably be able to tell you after how much weight that. I don't really know Division III wrestling, how much, if that's even better than JUCO, or if that's a JUCO level thing. But he was an All-American, so he has some type of pedigree on the ground. Not a great striker, kind of a wild guy. But he's going to try to get to his wrestling, so it's all pretty much in this fight is what you're going to look for is, can he get him down, and can he hold him down, and can he do damage down there, because on the feet, it's pretty clear that Mederos is going to be able to do damage if he can get range and strike and let stuff go, and I think that he has a great shot of either coasting to a decision, because if Choinski can get around on the ground, possibly, but I'm not 100% certain his chin can hold up. He was just training for about for welterweight in the Anthony Pettis thing. So when you're trying to move up a weight class from 155 to 170, you're putting on muscle mass and you're putting on weight. Like, you're not just gaining a gut. Like, you're gaining mass. So I don't know how that's going to affect him to turn around and try to reverse that to come make 155 here. But I could see him getting chinned. But my overall prediction is just going to be Mederos via decision. That's a plus 135 play right there. My best betting line of the whole fight would probably be Mederos knockout / decision, just in case he does find that chin. You're getting that at minus 155. I think that's decently good against a guy on short notice who's going to fight at 170. He might be big though. The weight might carry well. If he has to cut back down, you don't know. But on short notice, I'll take the guy Mederos, who is just training for I think way harder competitor in Oki. Doesn't have to worry about those strikes; just have to worry about the grappling now. So I guess we'll see how good the takedown defense looks still. And yeah, I got Mederos. What do you feel about this Hot Hand?
Yeah, I agreed on a lot of the things you said. Mederos is going to have the edge on the feet if the fight stays standing. Mederos is obviously going to be winning the exchanges on the feet. Now with this Choinski, he's going to have the edge in the grappling. Now D3, it honestly depends. Like how you said, he is a D3 national champion. Because there's some D3 people, that were
Hold
at
on,
a
not
Iowa
not
University or a Penn
I,
State University, and they,
he didn't
what's
have
up?
he wasn't a D3 national champ. I think D3 All American, the 3 time D3 All
Okay,
American.
okay, so yeah, that's still impressive to even make or qualify for the national tournament. Because there's people in D3 that are D1 caliber wrestlers. They just didn't have the grades or got in trouble with the law, and the only uh, uh, scholarships or schools that would take them are lower level D3. Like there's a Penn State wrestler who just got arrested and they revoked his offer. So now it's honestly, I think from watching what I seen from doing tape on him, he is a pretty level wrestler. I don't think he's really going to control Madero. So he's short notice debut UFC. He, like how you said, he was training for a 170 fight and now going to 155 any short notice. So depending on scales, as of now, I like Mederos. I think he's going to win a decision. I don't really see him dropping Choinski, but I think he's really going to control and try and control range and let the hands fly for a decision win.
Yeah, so we're both pretty much um on that, but we won't stick around too much. We got 13 fights, I believe. We got the next bout. I hope got the next bout between Quinlan Quillan Salkilld from Australia, and then the Israeli Ashmouz. Two 8-1 guys here. Um, kind of conflicting styles, but at the same time, they're both pretty well rounded for some not really veteran UFC guys. Um, Quillen, I would have liked to see more of him against Jubilee, but that one ended in 10 seconds or so. Um, and even on the other side for Yanal, in one of his bouts, he like broke his arm or hurt his arm, and you couldn't really get to see him at full potential. You do in some of his film. He has a little bit more than Saul killed, but not to an insane amount. So we look at Saul killed. I think he's pretty well rounded. He has some crisp striking. He has some pretty nice throws when it comes to clinch work and getting guys to the ground. In his Dana White Contender Series fight you saw against Gage Young, who just fought Evan Elder, um, the and Gage Young's mostly a grappler. You saw him take him down with pretty much at will and toss him a lot. His 6 foot frame, he wears it well. He's not a lengthy guy. Uh, you know, did you know fight his last fight at 155 or 170? Because I'm staying here on UFC, but UFC's always off. Let me see his last fight. Trevor Peak, who I didn't rate
I'm
high.
pretty sure it's 155.
Yeah, he fought 155 his
Pretty sure
last
he fought
two,
155.
last three. Yeah, he never fought in the UFC at 170. So this is a little bit off on the UFC. First time I use UFC and the weights are off. But we look over and he fought Trevor Peak. Peak was getting some big shots off, but the grappling of won him the fight. I don't think he's gonna have the same type of success against Salkilld, who also has some pretty strong grappling and has that long 7-inch reach advantage, uh, and 3 inches of height. I think he's gonna be able to control the distance, and I know that the odds are kind of ridiculous here because if you're looking at the odds, you see Quillen at up like a minus 550 around those ranges, which is I don't like that for any fight. It'll let alone one against someone with somewhat decent level of well-roundedness, and uh, I do like Quillen on this. I'm decently confident. I wouldn't hate people taking shots because the odds are way out. I'm not going to tell you to take the money line because I would never take a line like this. I think that Quillen though, I think they're going to get into some decent exchanges on the feet since they're not. I think the grappling might neutralize a little bit, and if when you get into the range and the striking, is good at getting on the way, and he's good at moving. But with this 7-inch reach advantage and the power that Salkilld has, I think that he might be able to find the shot. So my official prediction is gonna be Quillen Salkilld via knockout. That's a plus 450 on that result. If you're looking for my top play, if you want to play it safe and you want like a parlay piece or like something to add to another leg to juice it up a little bit, I like the Quillen knockout slash decision at minus 200. It brings down the range from -5, -600 down to a respectable minus 200, which is like around what we're talking about with realistic odds. I think he's like around a minus 300 favorite in my eyes, but minus 200 you're getting. I don't think he's going to be able to sub So you're getting minus 200 on the double chance. I didn't see any takedown props yet. But, that might be another route because the height difference, he might be able to get one takedown throughout the duration of the fight. I think he's going to be trying to shoot to close distance, so he might be able to get one. With the height difference, I like taking the shorter guys. But yeah, I'm gonna take Quillen by knockout. How you feeling about that hot hand?
Yeah, you pretty much have once again said everything I was gonna say. Uh, I rewatched Soul Kill and Gage Young. One thing I really realized is Soul Kill works the body as good as anyone else. Like he has such slick boxing. He throws so many body shots with leg kicks and fucking just sturdy boxing overall and dirty kickboxing. He has good takedown defense, but you now does have very good wrestling. I don't see him taking Soulkill down. Maybe later in the fight because has very good cardio. I could see later in the fight if he really wears on the body and puts him in the clinch and works him that he will find success later if he still has the edge in the cardio. But early on, I don't see really taking him to the ground. So that only says that Sakil is going to piece him up on the feet because he has such better and crisper striking. But the thing that scares me, I could kind of see a Mario Bautista and Jose Aldo fight where is really searching for these takedowns and he's just jacking them up against the cage and kind of keeps him there. The ref doesn't separate it. He's landing stupid strikes, just landing total strike numbers with little fucking knee kicks and whatever he's doing in the clinch against the cage. But I kind of see having success and can have success, especially at plus 400 odds. If there was a gun to my head, I would say the kill. But with these odds, I think the only real bet you could do is
Yeah, I can see what you mean against like that clinching up against the cage, struggling there, and like them not, and they're making it a boring Mario Bautista type of fight. Um, I think the length of Salkilld might be able to stop that, but yeah, I wouldn't hate anyone for taking the odds at what plus upwards of plus 400 because that's a ridiculous line. But I still think that Quillen finds a shot, but we'll move on from one juiced fight to continue onto these juiced fights. I think next is Jekka Saragih versus Sang Yoo. So Yoo making his debut. Um, he's upwards of minus 600. Doesn't even have a picture on UFC. I think I gotta go back to Tapology with how this how this website is. But we got Indonesian fighter versus South Korea. It feels like I'm watching Road to the UFC again, like a couple weeks ago. But you actually kind of reminds me. Well, I've seen this from a couple people say this, so I'm kind of stealing it. But the Conor McGregor type of striking stance, calm, nice leg kicks, just an overall solid competitor for a young guy. He was fighting over in Korean Zombies, his organization, like Zombie Fight League or something like that. And he has good striking. He has decent grappling. He's mostly like a power puncher, but he can work it on the ground, and he does have submissions in his arsenal. So it's not like he's not successful on the ground. On the other side, you have Saragih, which is the kind of the opposite. I don't think that he's just a power puncher. He's like a guy that's gonna try for fireworks and try to impress the crowd. He's not good in the grappling at all. Seen him get subs, seen him get put into tough positions, and I think that he might get put into another tough position in this fight. I don't respect the line. This is kind of ridiculous for a debut guy. Uh, but on that note, I'm definitely gonna lean Sang Yoo, and I'm gonna lean him by submission just because of the lack of grappling from Saragih. I think that he can get the sub at plus 240 odds on that on Bet365. I think that was, but I like that. I like the under 2.5. Fight doesn't go the distance. And him by finish, the knockout and submission, minus 160 on the double chance there. That's pretty much what I'm leaning. Sorry, I had to close the window. But yeah, I think that Sang Yoo gets the W here, and that Saragih is gonna get put out some way and get cut. What do you feel about that hot hand?
Yeah, Sergey's dog ass. He literally got subbed by trash can Weston Wilson his last fight, so that kind of speaks volume. Uh, I think that once again, this line, I don't really think a money line is what's playable here, but I think a under. I do like the under. I'm not really sure on the odds, but I think a under 2.5 is going to hit either. Uh,
The under the
I
under
think
under 2.5 is at minus 200. Fight doesn't go the distance is at minus 240. Oh, I also have marked down round 3 not to start minus 138.
Yeah, I like the round 3. I think that's because you could play that as a straight. So I think that's definitely playable. So I think either Sergey finds the knockout or this debut guy either finds a sub because Sergey's submission defense and his grappling really needs improvement. And like you said, I think it's a loss, and then he's cut and he joins all the other trash cans.
Yeah, so we'll move on from that one. Another juiced fight to another juiced fight. These odds are just ridiculous on this card, but we'll make the most of it. You got Ariane de Lipski de Silva against Kong Wang. Um, my boy Hot Hand over here has a bad reputation. Not a bad reputation, a bad history with Kong Wang. I think he right. Didn't she bust your parlay, or she was like the only pick that didn't hit? She was like minus like 1,000. Like
Yeah,
it was like Macau, China, or something like that. The card. It was like
I
five six
took
to one.
her. I took her in that. I think it was the China card that she got
Yeah,
subbed, and
yeah,
I took her KO slash decision, and everyone else hit but her.
yeah. But she's a good striker. A little bit patient. She's not really running out there and trying to knock people out. She does have the power to knock you out, but she's not really sprinting at you, tearing you down. She's slowly, methodically breaking you down, walking you down, and mostly a point fighter, but just have finishes. On the other side, you have Lipski de Santos or de Silva. I never even know because she got married. This wasn't her name originally, I don't think. Yeah, it was Ariane Lipski before, but she she's a decently well-rounded fighter. She's been around 27 fights at 31 years old. Is pretty ridiculous. Um, she has decent submission game. She caught Casey O'Neill on an armbar, I believe it was. Uh, she's fought some good competition. It's just she's on I think a 2 fight losing streak. I could see her getting the better of the jiu-jitsu exchanges if any occur if they don't stay on the feet. But I think that Kong Wang's gonna do damage on the feet, land the bigger strikes. Even though Lipski de Silva is originally from a Muay Thai background, and she is good with her knees, and she is the opposite. She's aggressive. She might bring the fight to Kong Wang, but she might make this interesting. But that might also be her downfall and get herself clipped and knocked out with a counter shot. I have Kong Wang as my lean via decision plus 125 on that. Um, but there is some stuff you can play around with. One play that I like, I don't know if you guys like voids. Us here at MMA Gems love voids. It's better than a loss anytime. Put it in a parlay, like a finish only money line or something. But what I have, Ariane Lipski De Silva sub only money line. I don't think she gets submitted by Wang here. And I think that she has the sub upside because Wang has been submitted before, and that's when she sold. Um, and that was against not and it's like yeah, Fernandez could grapple, but it's not like she's going against like a IBJF great submission artist. So you can play around with that if she loses by knockout, she loses by decision, anything, you get the void. So at plus 300, I think she's more likely than Kong Wang to get a sub. So when you're getting 3-1 on that, I think you can play it. Uh, but other than that, even if you're playing around with like Kong Wang double chance, that's still gonna get you like a minus 250, which is ridiculous when you're doing a double chance. You could probably play around with that if you wanted to put it in a safe way. That's up to you. But I'm just gonna take Kong Wang by decision as my overall prediction of the bout. You could probably take. I don't know. I don't really foresee a Kong Wang knockout, but I do think it's possible. So caution, but if you look at the Silva plus 7.5 alt spread, if you only have to win one round on one card, that's minus 105. So keep that in mind. What do you like on this hot hand?
I think Kong Wang is really gonna put it on her on the feet. I don't think Silva is to that level. I mean, Silva is coming off two tough losses to two very talented female artists. It's Jazz the Devushis, whatever her name is, the Canadian chick, and then she also lost to Karina Silva, which are both a very high level. So with that being said, Kong Wang coming up, she's a good face for the MMA. She dresses as the Joker. She's good. She's a good publicity person for the UFC and China and women's MMA right now because she has very high level kickboxing or Muay Thai, whatever you want to describe her stand up game as. But she's very slick. I think in that submission loss she recently took, I think she was kind of being cocky and arrogant and honestly was comfortable being in the clinch and the grappling exchanges and got herself caught even though that the other girl posed a grappling threat to her. So I think she's going to kind of mature and develop as a fighter more and more as she's in these UFC fights. So I see her sticking to a strict striking game plan and really putting it on her. I don't I don't think that we're going to see a finish here because the Silva, she isn't a very low level fighter. I think she could definitely hang for 3 rounds, maybe work in clinch work, and honestly survive. So I don't hate a Wong Kong straight play decision, and I definitely like the sub only Silva money line. I think you said that was like what plus 300, which is that's perfect, honestly, because Wong Kong ain't fucking subbing her. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's plus 300, which I think is a good value there. It's like a nice lotto, a safe lotto, because if anything happens besides a Kong Wayne submission, you get your money back. So it's a nice little hope that Kong Wang fucks up and gets subbed. But with that being said, we'll move over to the next bout and another fighter that we already taped and discussed last week. Gustafsson coming to make his UFC debut, but now he has to fight Chaos Williams, who's way different than Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles, I still thought he had a chance to knock out Gustafsson, but now, like, it's different because Trevin Giles, I think, is more technical than Chaos Williams. He's more prone to find the weaknesses and pick them apart within those, like within the gap when he's trying to get within those ranges to clinch up and get that Greco-Roman going against the cage. There's like those little windows where they're in the striking range and Gustafsson's vulnerable to getting hit. And I thought Trevin Giles would be able to exploit those pretty well with his jabs and stuff. Chaos Williams worries me a little bit too, because he more of a load up guy and it takes him a while, but his power is something that Gustafsson has never seen. And I guarantee that. He has never seen this type of power. I think that as you still have to take into account that neck surgery, that or neck injury. Still not disclosed on exactly what it was. He said broken neck, but he said it wasn't a broken neck, but the doctor didn't know what it was, or something along those lines. But you got to take that into account. He couldn't train after that. Yeah, he got back into the gym and trained for two. He trained for forget who his first opponent was supposed to be. Then that couldn't happen. Then he was on quick training for Trevin Giles. That didn't happen. And now he's over here fighting Chaos Williams with pretty much zero training, couple days worth of training. Um, and he just had to, I don't know if he cut completely, but that Trevin Giles shit was right during the cut. So he definitely just had to cut Gustafsson. He was definitely in the middle of a cut if Trevin Giles was going to cut and he hit his head. So having to cut back to back weeks, I don't like that ever. Especially if you're a bigger guy like Gustafsson. I think Chaos Williams is going to find the shot uh, and get the knockout here. His line's around minus 185 on the money line. My prediction of the knockout, I'm not loving the difference, but plus 125 on the knockout. If you want a little parlay piece, not to go the distance at minus 230. I also like the under 2.5 minus 175 or around 3 not to start at minus 122. I think that might be my favorite there. Around 3 not to start. But if you want to play it safe, you can go under 2.5 rounds or fight not to go the distance and put it in a parlay. But I'm gonna take Chaos to find the shot. I don't like Gustafsson neck injury, debut, um, cutting back to back weeks, fighting power he's never seen before. All that combined is just a bunch of stuff that I usually fade, so I gotta fade it here. What do you think, Hot Hand?
Yeah, big switch in opponent. Gustafsson cutting back to back weeks. I was ready to fade him against Giles. I was really gonna take the under. I love the under in this. I like the under now as well. Gustafsson's definitely not gonna be. I don't think he's gonna look good on the scales. I think he's gonna be kind of dead. You know, you cut. Say if you cut 10, 20 pounds and then you put all that weight back on. Okay, I didn't fight, whatever, bummed out. He's eating, putting the weight back on, and then bam, all of a sudden he gets the call. You're back in, you cut it again. You're definitely not going to be going 100%. Chaos Williams is a big dude. He has heavy hands. And from this tape I seen and then Dana White Contender Series, Gustafsson likes to brawl. He was really trying to put it on the dude, really swinging. Now, both of his losses, he never been knocked out before, but I do feel Chaos Williams does pack the power to really sleep him and put him out. So with that being said, I like Chaos. His money line, I think you could get it around minus 180, and as well as the under if you want to take the round 3 not to start, under 2.5, whatever your preference is.
Yeah, so we're pretty much agreed with most of the stuff that's going on in this card, but they're decently sized favorites, so it's pretty easy to be in agreement on those. We'll move over to the next bout of the night. I'm still mad Gustafsson didn't fight last week, but we won't complain. We got Sergey Spivac versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Waldo, I remember seeing it. I remember us taping him and watching him fight in his last bout. And if he looked good in the striking, he's a little cocky. I just watched the fight with Andre Arlovsky, and he was a cocky motherfucker. Didn't really do much. He's good at striking. He's like a boxer. I think he's a Dominican boxer. He used to play baseball. He's a pitcher, but uh, he's fighting Sergey Spivak, who's fought the cream of the crop. He's fought some high level guys, beat some high level guys, lots of mostly high level guys. The line's moving. Last time I checked, it was Spivak minus 138 on the money line, but at minus 135, so around the same line. I think he's gonna. I think if he gets him to the ground, I think he gets the sub. I like Waldo Acosta's strength and how he can defend. takedown pretty well. But I'm just watching Sergey Spivac tape, and he just the way he can toss guys so effortlessly or get guys to the ground. He's taking down Marcin Tybura and shit. Like, I guess it's just a different level of grappling. I think he'll be able to get him to the ground and get the sub. The submission is plus 340. Like I said before, minus 138. I think if the way that Cortes-Acosta went, I don't think he's gonna sleep. I don't think he's gonna be able to knock out Spivac unless he throws a lot of volume, like in the Cyril Gane Spivac fight where Spivac didn't really shoot a lot of takedown attempts, and he just kind of stood there and got ripped on. And I think that okay, if Acosta does that, maybe, but that's like minimal percentage in my opinion of the probability of that happening. So I'm gonna either take the submission for Sergey Spivac, or if you want to look at like alternate lines or like parlay pieces, Sergey Spivac plus 7.5 is at minus 235. So that could be a parlay piece for those who want to play it safe. I don't think he gets finished, and I think if he loses, he at least wins one round. If the plus 3.5 is minus 200 flat, I'll pay it a little bit more to get a whole other not a whole other possibility. Like you only need one round on one card. I could take that on insurance any day. But yeah,
Mike. You said his plus 7.5.
yeah, is minus two thirty
It,
five.
oh my, that is beautiful. Yeah, that is beautiful. I was gonna say is plus 3.5. I liked Spivax, but plus 7.5 is minus 200 or minus 230.
Yeah, the plus three
That's
and a half.
definitely the play.
The plus 3.5 is minus 230, and then no. The plus 3.5 is minus 200, and then like plus 5.5 is like minus 215 or something, and then minus or plus 7.5 is minus 235. Last time I checked earlier, so that's a nice
Yeah, I'm
bump.
definitely gonna play that.
Um, you can take your risk on the under 2.5 at minus 145. Spivak usually comes out to get the W's fast, but Waldo Costa kind of is a decision merchant, so you're kind of conflicting on those. But I think Spivak's going to get a finish either by ground and pound. I just think that Waldo Cortez Acosta or whatever, he's too patient in the way that he strikes. He's standing there. He's calm, throwing his jab. Spivak's gonna close the distance, get a hold of him, get him to the ground, and then Start to work. And I think that Spivak ends up getting to a sub within those rounds. So yeah, I'm on Spivac. How you feeling on that bout overall?
I'm liking Spivak. Acosta is kind of a one trick pony, and Spivak has fought the way higher level of competition. So I see Spivak really coming in, really not being shy on the feet. I think Spivak could hang with him on the feet. I don't think Acosta is really going to put it on him. But where Spivak is really going to have the advantage is in the clinch, and when they both hit the canvas. I think Spivak is also going to get a finish via the ground and pound or a submission. I may play his inside the distance. Might play around with odds and see what I could get a sub or a knockout at. But that plus 7.5 play you said, I think is a beautiful piece for a parlay. I'm definitely going to play that with another play I have coming up. But I like the Spivac plus 7.5 a lot. I'm going to look at straight bets with Spivac inside the distance, and then kind of to uh, hedge it all. I may take Acosta by decision, just depending on odds, or Acosta by knockout, just to see what that would look like. But I think Spivac is going to win. Also, I would wait. If you're going to bet on Spivac, I would definitely wait to the weigh-ins, because if he comes in looking really out of shape and fat, we're not
Yeah,
really gonna. I'm not expecting a good performance out of him then. But
yeah,
when he comes in and he has like borderline, you could see the abs forming, and he's looking good and he's energetic. Then I would definitely hammer whatever plays you like of his.
yeah. So we're both in agreement on Spivak there, as long as he shows up weight wise and in shape and not fat and sloppy, because then he'll probably get boxed out of there. But we'll move on to the next fight, and we got Brandon Ribeiro versus Azamat Murzakanov. So this Azamat Murzakanov, he's a solid guy from Russia. Fights out of New Jersey. This is a Jersey card, so that's a little bit of boost for him right there. And you got Brandon Ribeiro, crushed a lot of people's hopes and dreams with DR Narozi last time out. Caught him in the Kimura, but Narozi came like 5 pounds overweight, out of shape. I know I got caught in that hype train, and he had that tick wiping his eye, like whatever he was doing, wiping his eye, wiping his face every 2 seconds, whatever. Brandon Ribeiro got him, and he kind of scares me in this matchup. He's tall. I think Murzakanov does get the W and does find the kill shot, but the odds are disgusting. I know he's undefeated, but he had some close bouts already. Um, you see right here, his lines at like a minus 550 around there. And then you look at his recent competition, or maybe not recent, but his overall competition level. You're looking at he knocked out Alonzo Menifield. All right, I don't even know how high I am on Alonzo Menifield because it wasn't too long ago that dude was fighting some debut guy and they had his line at like minus 150. Dustin Jacoby unanimous decision. All right, so he was putting pain on Dustin Jacoby there, and I kind of think that does put some weight on that. I like that finish might be his best one or his win, whatever. I'm looking at the other ones. Nothing that really surprises me. Had some decent fights. Not really outside the UFC, but I don't. Before he was, I think he was plus money against Jacoby. His lines were relatively close against other guys. Now we have minus 550 against Ribeiro, who is well rounded. I think that the knockout for Murzakanov is probably the most likely option, and the odds reflect it because it's minus 275 for a knockout. I'm not gonna bet that though. Um, I haven't found a favorite pick. I think Brandon Ribeiro is a little deadly, and I am a little scared of having some PTSD here. I think Murzakanov probably gets the knockout, but I won't be playing that at those odds. Parlay piece over a half round, not 1.5, just a half round, like 2.5 minutes. That's minus 425. So if you put that with like a minus two something, you're getting towards even money. And I think they last 2.5 minutes. It's just ridiculous. Ribeiro is willing to get hurt, but he's really slick in the jiu-jitsu and stuff. I think he can catch Murzakanov lacking if he shoots a double leg or something. He has a couple guillotine victories in his career, and had Magomed Gatiasulov, the fucking fraud, in a bad guillotine before. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I think that Murzakanov gets a W. But I'm not touching that with those odds. Nothing there is standing out to me. How do you feel about that hot hand?
Yeah, just with the odds, I really don't like to dabble in anything here. I mean, I think the odds are inflated this much because Asmat had a great performance against Alonzo Menifield his last outing. But I mean, that's also a mid-level Menifield. Now in that fight, they're both him and Alonzo are both the same size. Now he's going to be fighting Ribeiro, who's I think Asmat was 5'10" and Ribeiro's 6'3". So he's going to have the size advantage. He's going to have the power advantage. If he's getting pieced up, I could see him being like, okay, fuck my game plan. I'm down. Like, let me look for the knockout, which he's more than capable of. Now, Asmat is very, very slick striker. So I honestly see this fight playing out very slow. I think Asmat's really going to try and keep range on Ribeiro, considering he's fucking that big. I think it's going to try and just pick him apart. All right, move. Pick him apart, move. Uh, I think the fight's going to stay standing, where I think it's going to be in favor of Asmat as long as he doesn't get in the crazy exchanges. That over 2.5 prop, I like that. What do you have that on? The over two and a
You
half
said
minutes.
over 2.5 minutes. Oh, it's just if you go to the alt lines on DraftKings, it's a half round. It's like alt round
Yeah,
total. It's just over a
that's
half round.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's like minus four something. It is a bit juicy, but I think it's gonna last over for 2.5 minutes. I think that they're gonna be able to keep distance and last for that long. You know, nice little
Yeah, well, I
parlay
mean,
piece.
look at the past like 4 or 5 fights. All the money lines are minus fucking 400 and up, and that's betting on a fighter that's nowhere lower level because they're opening these cards, and you have a fight to last 2.5 minutes. I think that's kind of easy to take as a parlay piece. So, I mean, if gun to my head, I'm taking Asmat by decision, but there's not much value in that. His line is steep, and Ribeiro has crazy knockout power. So, I would take the over 2.5 minutes. That's a very solid parlay piece. I'll definitely have more in the MMA Gems cord whenever I get I look through the lines and really study the lines and see what I like and see weigh-ins as well.
I'm just taking a look right now to see like over 1.5. I think I might be pushing it, but like maybe round two to start. Let me see what the line is on that right now on FanDuel. Round two to start, minus 134. So an extra
Wait,
two.
you said round two to start is minus 134?
Yeah, on FanDuel.
Okay, yeah, that's a fire straight bet. I like that a lot because, dude, there's no way Asmat's gonna come out there and really be exchanging with Ribeiro. There's no way. There's no way his game plan is to go out there and fucking go stand in front of each other and go blow for blow.
Just Brendan Rivera's a fucking crash out. I could see this shit not hitting like in reality, but I just feel like the implied probability. It's like minus 135. That's like a 50 something percent, like 55% or so around there implied probability. Like yeah, it's 5 minutes. If you want to be safer, but if you're looking like that's on DraftKings, you're getting a half round for minus 420 something, which is like or like over 80% implied probability. So they think it's going over 2.5 minutes 80% of the time, but
Yo,
they only think
did
it's
you
going.
see Ribeiro KO? Did you see those props
Yeah.
at all?
Oh, Rivero by KO
Because I just looked,
plus a
and
thousand
Ribeiro,
plus 1,000.
bro, he has a fucking 10-inch reach advantage.
10 inches.
10 inches.
Do I have it open on the screen? I do. Not even looking at it. He does have a 10 inch.
71.5 to 81. I'm
Yeah,
taking Ribeiro by a knockout as a sprinkle.
plus 1,000 too.
Bro, that's fucking crazy. He has the power and a reach like that. Dude, that's like a mix that fucking someone's going to sleep.
And that like plays in with like if Ozma ends up shooting like a double leg, like Brandon Ribero's really good at like reaching over and getting to like Kimuras or guillotine sneak like guillotines like sneaking his arm into places and like that
He does,
length.
yeah, yeah.
He just put Dior in that off like I think you were pretty sure it was off a takedown attempt or a takedown. Catches Dr. in the over reaching over his body and putting him in a Kimura and ended up getting him
Yeah,
out.
I remember that. I remember that. Ribeiro, bro, has slept on BJJ. Like,
Yeah, he does.
he's big. He has heavy hands.
8 year
But just
age
because
difference here.
people are so focused, bro, because people are so focused on his striking, they kind of sleep on his BJJ.
I don't think his striking's terrible. He's just so willing to exchange. And I'm looking. I'm gonna pull
Oh,
up
I
his
know.
pulling up on my phone right now. I want to see his competition in the UFC, and we can move on from this bout. But this is an interesting one. Um, Dr. Then Kyle Machado with decision. He lost to Magomed Zulov. Min Yang Zhang he got knocked out by. Um, with Min Yang Zhang he got way more power than Azamat Murzakanov.
Yeah.
Bruno Lopez he knocked him out, and then all of them were pre UFC before that. So he's Brandon Ribeiro's fought some alright guys. Um, the Magomed Zulov one was majority, so I guess they had a draw. But he almost choked out. Like multiple times he had Magomed Zulov in a bad position. He was closer to finishing the fight. I think that trying to look at what's the round two to start. Yes, minus 134. That's all right, and I'm probably gonna play that half round one as a parlay piece. But besides that, I don't know what I'm gonna do. What are you on for? We'll move on to actually for the next bout to Bruno Silva versus Josh Van. Minus 700 is I'm seeing, minus 600 I'm seeing on this fight, which is also so fucking annoying. Trying to see what I have for this fight. 'Cause I remember looking at this fight to film and I was just like, what the fuck, man. Josh Van minus 600. Hit by decision is minus 110. That's an alright line, I guess. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 340. I think he's likely to box off Silva's head. But I just think that Silva is like, he has a pretty good chin. So he might take a beating, but he's gonna strike back. It might be decently contested on the feet. And I think that Josh Van will be able to stay off of the ground. Van in over 7.5 minutes or 1.5 rounds on DraftKings, minus 185. I like that line. Silva sub only money line. So like the fight would have to win. Like the fight has to end by sub. You get your money back. Sub only money line plus 165. I think he's more likely to get a sub than Josh Van is at that plus money. But other than that, I don't really want to talk much about this fight. Probably what's going to happen is Josh Van and him are going to stay on the feet and strike. Silva might try to shoot a takedown. Josh Van probably going to stuff it and probably going to box his head off. How do you feel?
I think Josh Van should be a favorite, but not no minus 700. Considering Lopez was, I mean, I wouldn't say he was fighting with Manel Cape, but he was eating everything, like until Manel Cape hit him with the nut shot and then he found the knockout. Silva was there the entire time. So I like a ban by decision, if anything, considering how shot the odds are. Silva has the chin. I don't see Silva getting this fight to the canvas where I feel he would have the grappling edge. Fan is a very good wrestler, but he doesn't look for subs. But a lot of times you'll see wrestlers get caught in submissions because they expose their neck or whatever the situation may be. So if the only bet I would really take here is a Van in over strikes or over significant strikes or significant strikes thrown, and they fan by decision bet, and that's really it. That's all I'm touching for this.
Yeah, not much value on this one. I like Josh Van, obviously, but that's not what I'm trying to look for. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. I must have taped Kevin Holland in the last year like 5 times already. Uh, he's like minus 270 though. Like, what are we doing now? He at least put Kevin Holland in a pick as a pick'em or as a dog. Because I'm not paying minus 300 for Kevin Holland. Because if he lets me down, it's my fault. It's my fault if he fucks me over at minus 275. Because I don't want to bet on him. Um, him by decision at plus 333. I think he's gonna finish him. I think that he's gonna get to the decision, maybe. Round two to start, yes, minus 270 as a parlay piece. Um, I think that I think when Vicente Luque is going to be trying to come into this, even if he tries to grapple, which he's going to have to, he's not going to be able to strike with Kevin Holland. He's going to be getting clipped. I think Kevin Holland's still decent, and Vicente Luque isn't Reiner de Ritter. So I think Kevin Holland. I have Kevin Holland plus over 299, 299 and a half seconds, which is 1 round. It's on DraftKings on a same game parlay because it gets better odds. But his money line plus over 299.5 seconds, minus 105 on that line. So you're getting him at an actual Kevin Holland line. And I think that it does leave round one, unless he somehow knocks out Vicente Luque, which I kind of just envisioned. So take that with a grain of salt. I'd probably rather pay a homeless person or give a homeless person beer, pay for a homeless person to eat or something, rather than bet on this fight. But yeah, we'll move on to the next one. We got Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is long-awaited debut. one loss, 20-1 against Mario Bautista. And I usually don't like taking these debut guys, regardless of their pedigree. This is a good spot here, though, for Patchy Mix, stylistically. I don't think that his striking is as bad as people say, and Mario Batista's is decent as well. But I don't see it as insane. I see this fight going to happen in the clinch a lot. And even if it doesn't, Patchy Mix does have decent kicks. Mario Batista does too. Patchy Mix with a 2-inch height advantage and 2.5-inch reach advantage. When they get into those clinch scenarios, I was watching the Damon Blackshear versus Batista fight, and early in that fight, you can see Batista struggling with those type of clinches, and Aldo had only one dimension. Like he's not threatening with the takedowns, and yeah, his takedown defense is godlike, but he made Mario Batista look really good at clinching, and he had no other element. It wasn't like Jose Aldo was gonna defend and try to shoot a takedown back. He was looking at the ref, waiting for him to pull it off. So I just think Patchy Mix in those situations is gonna be active. He's gonna be trying to look for stuff within those clinches. He's not gonna be just resting. He's gonna be trying to look for something. So I think Patchy Mix by submission is probably where I'm gonna lean on that fight as the result. That's plus 300. Mix, you're getting him at minus 175 around there on the money line. I also like the Mix sub or decision double chance minus 130. I don't think he has the power to try to sweep Mario Bautista. I haven't found a parlay piece for that fight yet. I wasn't really too keen on it. Batista, it's still a feeling in me that gives Batista like all right, he's UFC, has fought some guys, like he's growing as a fighter. Don't doubt him. I don't think Mix is a lock by any means, and I'm probably not even gonna play him on the money line. But I do think he wins the fight. Probably gets a sub here because I've already seen Batista in some vulnerable spots in his jiu-jitsu. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna lean. How do you feel about this one, Hot Hand?
I like Batista. Patchy, it being his debut. Batista really he has the boring fight style, but it gets him the wins. You know what I mean? He's very hated, very very hated. I mean, I never met anyone that's like, yes, Mario Batista's fighting, but like realistically, he has a good game plan, and he usually finds a way to pull through and win. I do think Batista's gonna have the striking disadvantage. I do think people underrate his striking, but I do think Patchy's gonna have the advantage there. But I don't see Batista really finding any danger with the wrestling or BJJ. I don't think Batista even takes him down, or if he does, it's kind of I'm hanging on your back and riding you against the cage and kind of just trying to rack up control time and throw bullshit punches just to keep the ref off us. So I don't really like Patchy being the favorite at almost minus 200 on his debut against someone like Mario Batista. So I think if you're going to play Batista or if you're going to play a money line, it should be Batista's, or you could even take his alternate spread plus 3.5 just to be safe.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the. I haven't even looked at the spreads yet. Let me look at the spread for that bout because I could see it going the distance as well. So if you're going the spread route on DraftKings. Let's see what we got here. Mario Bautista plus 3.5 at minus 135. That's a decent bet if you think that he'll avoid the submissions. Um, Submission only money line Patchy Mix is minus 1,200. That's hilarious. But let's see what else we got. We got plus 5.5 at minus 160, and then plus 7.5 at minus 190 as a parlay piece. You're still under minus 200, and you got the plus 7.5. But plus 3.5 at the minus 135 is pretty playable. We'll move on from that bout though, and we'll go to about that we've already talked about as well, and I've already studied multiple times. We got Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Um, Trying to make this quick. Kelvin Gastelum, cinder block head, legend, great striker. well, decent striker. He goes into wars and he makes them close. He's a tough guy, and he has a chin. I don't think he's never been finished like knockout. This is a tough bout for him. He has that chin mostly at 175 or at 170. Now he's up at 185. I don't know if he's gonna be able to keep it. I'm not gonna take him by knockout here, but I like Joe Pyfer. I didn't even take it. My notes. I didn't even put down my decision. It's probably gonna be Joe Pyfer by. I can really see this fight going to decision, but Joe Pyfer probably by a sub or decision. I don't think he finds a knockout, but I would not be surprised. Joe Pyfer's winning this fight. I think. I think it's a pretty high likelihood that Joe Pyfer's winning this fight. I like Joe Pyfer plus over 299.5 seconds, which is 1 round. Just said before. That's a minus 150 pick. So you're getting it from minus 400 down to minus 150, and all it has to make is the second round against the guy with the durability of Kelvin Gastelum. I might check my odds with that. He might come out soft. Joe Pyfer's not an idiot. He knows that he's not going to be able to just come out and knock Kelvin Gastelum out. So I like the over 299.5 seconds or round two to start on top of the Pyfer money line minus 150 on DK. That's my favorite play for that bet, or that's my favorite bet for that fight. How are you feeling about it, hot hand?
I don't really see a method of victory here. I see Joe Pyfer winning. I think that's I think that's a solid, very solid lock or a parlay piece. Odds are high, but with what we're working with for this card, I feel at minus 400 or minus 380 for Pyfer is very, very reasonable. Pyfer's he's going to have the power advantage. He's so much bigger. He's going to have the reach. He's a very good wrestler. His gym is in high spirits with Sean Brady, with him training out of Philly. I think Pyfer is going to be ready. I think Gastelum is hitting the end of his career. He's not going to be in the UFC for too much longer. And if he is, I think he's going to keep dropping losses. But I could see Pyfer inside the distance. I could see him just tagging Gastelum up for the entire fight and bullying him and edging out a decision. But either way, I think Pyfer's money line is a very safe bet here. I'm not going to fuck around with a method or round prop, though. But
Yeah, so you could take Pyfer on the money line as a parlay piece. I don't really like those odds. Maybe you can do the Pyfer and over 2.5 minutes. Let me see what that brings you to as a parlay piece, so you don't have to play that straight. If you're doing on DraftKings, and you take Joe Pyfer and over a half round, or yeah, over a half round, you're getting that at minus 255. So kind of brings it to earth. I think he lasts over 2.5 minutes, so it's better than minus 400. But not really any great plus money value there, unless you're taking like a finish prop, which I don't advise. We got Juliana Peña in the co-main event versus Kayla Harrison. This is a crazy odds. It's like minus 700 around there for a title challenger. That is crazy. Uh, I think Kayla Harrison wins this, but minus 700 is pretty insane. Uh, I'm just looking. There's not much I really like. I don't think Kayla Harrison's gonna just go out there and finish her round one. Which I think the under is 3.5. That's what the line is. So you take Kayla Harrison and over a half round minus 425. No, I'm not liking that. Over 299.5 seconds. So over a round. That gets you to minus 225. Now we're talking realism. So Kayla Harrison in round two to start on DraftKings minus 225 for a minus 700 favorite. I think she wins, and I don't think it's going to be in the first round. I would not be surprised if Juliana Peña wins this fight, though. Those odds are ridiculous. So you could try to maybe mess around with an over prop, like round round 4 to start, round 3 to start. I'm pretty sure round 3 to start is like minus 185, minus 190. And then round 4 to start is like minus 115, around there. You can mess around with those, or you can do what I just said on a parlay piece, minus 225 for Kayla Harrison and over 299.5 seconds. I think that if she wins, you could probably take a dart throw on the knockout by like via TKO. But I don't know how the gas tank is going to hold up for Kayla Harrison if she doesn't get a finish early. I think she's good enough to beat Juliana Peña, who I don't really rate as high. So I think it's Kayla Harrison's fight to lose. The grappling is going to be there. All depends on how long we're lasting. So you want to decide on how long you think the fight's going to take, or if it's taking it under, I guess that's on you. But I think it's going to last at least 2 to 3 rounds, and it's a women's fight. You got to go with that value. How do you feel about this co-main event?
I think it's incredibly juiced. I don't think Harrison should be a minus 700, even though I don't think Peña is high caliber. She shouldn't be the champion. Her decision over Pennington was a robbery, but I don't. I don't really. I don't know. I envision I could see Harrison being upset, as crazy as it is. But once I rewatched the fight Harrison lost, and when she didn't land the takedowns, her cardio was just fucked. So unless she finishes her, I think Peña could easily win the late rounds in this bout if it does go there. If Harrison gasses and doesn't finish her early, I think Peña could come back just because, I mean, she isn't the easiest person to put out. So I don't know. I don't really see Harrison being worthy of a bet. I do think the fight does go longer, though. I would bet maybe Harrison by decision and a Peña money line just as two straights. But I don't really like this fight too much.
Yeah, the value on it is kind of cooked. If you're looking at like spread lines on it, if you think Peña's gonna keep it close and not get finished, well, the over 4.5 you're getting at plus 145. Um, you're looking at the spread lines. Juliana Peña plus 13.5 is plus 150. So that right there, he's gonna win around if it goes 5 rounds. So that's another look if you think it's going the distance. I don't think it'll be 50 45s across the board. But let's not last on this fight too much. They kind of cooked this co-main event with those type of odds. But you got to make the belt fight, I guess. The Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley, part 2. So Sugar Sean got grappled. I think it was 48-47 on 2 cards, and then 49-46 on 1 card. I thought it was 49-46 from the couch, but I'm not a judge. I think that O'Malley might have a better. I think he's gonna have more output in this bout than he had in the last one. He was very hesitant, and although he knows that I still think that he's gonna get taken down almost at will because there hasn't been enough time since that last fight for him to be able to drill any reasonable or relevant amount of takedown defense to be able to stop Merab. Merab's gonna keep shooting takedowns on him, infinite amount. The only thing that scares me from Merab is he's kind of cocky now, so he might end up getting slept being a cocky motherfucker. Because Sean O'Malley's still one of the best strikers in the UFC. So I see Merab getting the win. I don't like the odds, especially since you paid plus money last time for Merab. You got it with the plus sign. Now you're over here paying almost minus 3 to 1. I don't see it on that line. Sean O'Malley on like a spread line. I think it's gonna be a Merab via decision. But like Sean O'Malley on a spread line is probably a better play because if you're looking at Sean O'Malley plus 9.5, you're at minus 205, which moved because that was better before, and plus 13.5 is minus 300. So those are both valuable parlay pieces. Um, plus 5.5, nah. I'm not loving it. But at the same time, you have Sean O'Malley, so you're always getting a knockout factor. I don't think that Moral's going to get a finish. Although, I don't really think he employs very meaningful ground and pound. His takedown line is like 5.5, and I'm tempted to take the under on it. It's plus 100, but it's Merab versus Sean O'Malley, so I could look like an idiot in 3 rounds, and he could have fucking 8 takedowns. So I'll probably just take a Sean O'Malley spread as my suggestion. Let me see what the over under on this is. Yeah, it's projected to go over, so over 4.5 is the line at minus 280. So it's you can't really go wrong with a Sean O'Malley spread if you think it's going to be close. Then you get covered if Sean has the shot. So I think that Rob's going to get the victory, but I think it might be closer than people think. And I'm not paying minus 300 on Marab when he might get cocky and get slumped. And he has that foot injury, so he's not gonna be able to kick well because he was saying it hurts. It might not affect the grappling, but it's definitely gonna affect the kickboxing. But what do you have on that hot hand? Even though I probably already know.
Yeah, I mean, for like the past 2 weeks, I've been saying absolute hammer play coming. O'Malley spread plus 13.5. Absolutely beautiful parlay piece. That's 100. That's a 100% hit rate. Marab is not going to finish O'Malley. O'Malley is more promotable. You know, they're biased towards O'Malley. I thought it was 49-46 across the boards their last fight, but it was we had some 48-47s. Obviously, the judges are going to sway O'Malley. I would even take a plus like 5.5. You could do that as a straight. You could put the plus 9. I think the plus 9.5 and the plus 13.5 are guaranteed going to be covered. Marab's coming off the toe injury, which it's not going to act like make the world of a difference, but it is going to factor how he really shoots off of it. You know, if you're shooting a double leg or a single leg, you're driving off your toes, the ball of your foot, you're going to drive off of. So I think that's going to play a factor. He's probably not going to throw much calf kicks or body kicks or head kicks. So I don't know. Also, O'Malley does seem to be locked in since his loss, since he isn't holding the belt no more. I think he's going to throw how he used to. You know, he fought him. And that was O'Malley's worst performance, their last fight, and that was Marab's, you know, usual. He looked like himself. So I think with O'Malley's having his worst performance and still getting 48-47s and 49-46, I'm going to take O'Malley by decision on a sprinkle, and I'm also going to take O'Malley spread in an absolute hammer play.
And if O'Malley wins, I just realized we're gonna have to see a rematch. We're gonna have to see the trilogy unless O'Malley declines it. But she's not. They're not gonna let him. It's gonna have to go for the three-peat because they're 1-1. But I don't know. I guess no one really wanted to see this fight. I guess. But who else is gonna fight against Marab? If Marab wins this fight, like I don't really know what you can do in the division anymore. Marab's gonna be the featherweight. Oh, what is it? Featherweight, 145 or the bantamweight goat?
Ban him.
Bantamweight, yeah, bantamweight. Yeah, I'm just trying to look through this card, and you're just seeing a bunch of big negatives. So you got to play around with some double chances on some of these fights. You're not going to really get any value on the money lines, and I don't think I have one dog, which is scary. I do have um doubts about some of the favorites, but overall, I think maybe Gustafsson's live dog, but I think he's gonna get slept. Um, I really don't have any dogs here for dog of the week. I don't. Waldo Acosta, maybe if Sergey Spivac comes on the scales fat and like out of shape, but I think the grappling is going to be the difference. Brendan Ribeiro with a 10-inch reach advantage, that might be a dog just because. Even though I think Azmat's going to win, that might just be a dog play just because of that. And
I think Luque is my dog, honestly.
just to fade Kevin Holland.
Yeah, bro. Fucking Holland. Holland sold how many times? Like, I'm not gonna keep making the same mistake, especially at the line he's at. when Luque did just come out here, drop Themba, and then sub him in, I think, like under a minute. Now, that is Themba. He's extremely new to the UFC, but he had a crazy hype coming into that fight and was on a roll. So, I mean, with Luque doing that, I think he does have a shot at beating Holland, just because Holland is a very stupid fighter and just fights, like, literally just fights stupid.
I'm trying to just give the people real quick from the plays that we said that we're very confident on. A quick little safe parlay. We're not going to give you a dog because we really don't have it, but this is what we think is a safe, reasonably safe parlay. A little three-legger just to get you plus money. You could take this two-legger or three-legger, but it's all. You got Joe Pyfer on the money line, Sean O'Malley plus 9.5, and Sergey Spivac plus 7.5. Even though we think he's live for a straight victory, you got the cushion if we get into a situation where Waldo Acosta stuffs a couple takedowns, is being his lazy usual self, and decision merchants and get the close fight. But I don't think the odds of Waldo knocking him out or Waldo somehow 30-27 unanimousing Sergey Spivac with 0 takedowns or no control is very low. So you could take the Sergey out and it'll make it minus 115, so you're getting it at around a 1-1. Or you can add it and get the plus 167, so you're getting good value there, reasonably safe play. That's a decent 2-unit, 3-unit play if you do it. 3 units if you do the minus 115 with Sean O'Malley and Joe Pyfer. I think that minus 115 is worthy of like 3 to 5 units. But other than that, I think we're gonna head on out here. We gotta hit the Tropicana Casino real quick and get ready for these weigh-ins tomorrow, which we'll see you guys over in MMA Gems. I know this is live right now. 2 of our guys, shout out to Max from Australia and C-Stan from Pennsylvania, United States. So got across the world right now live. We'll catch you guys later, and hope everything hits for you guys.
C. Mitchell took the center. Oh! He uses that separation to perfectly time that knee. Smiling. Oh! He couldn't finish the fight.